Severe storms overnight producing some of that damage. Thanks for joining us on AccuWeather Weekend as we continue to follow this severe weather outbreak going through your Saturday. I'm Melissa Constanzer.
And I'm Anna Azallion. Devastating images that unfortunately we will likely see more of as the day goes on, and we expect more severe weather.
Yeah, it's going to be an extreme risk for severe weather. Tier of the scale of severe weather concerns through today, and we've already seen a lot. In fact, the storm has impacted millions. 3 dead from dust storms, unfortunately, and also another piece of energy cutting its way across Texas and Oklahoma, and that's what's kicking up the active thunderstorms producing our severe weather risk today.
Yeah, we have had several severe thunderstorm and tornado watches and warnings throughout the morning so far. As far as what to expect the rest of the day, we do have that level wind earlier in the week from the last storm that brought some dust storms. That dust kind of gets carried and moves into other areas as the system kind of works its way north and east. Now, we do have the snow that we're seeing on the radar. And you know what happens when you mix this snow right here with the wind? That's where we get rapid drops in visibility. We get blizzards as well. We have blizzard warnings out. They have been active throughout the morning. Everywhere highlighted in dark blue here, but really anywhere where there is snow in the forecast for the rest of the day, it's not a bad idea to plan to just stay inside if you can, because
on across the southern tier of the U.S. with that severe weather outbreak, that tornado outbreak. So if you're in states like Mississippi and Alabama, be on guard. As far as flight cancellations, they're up today due to the amount of winds across the U.S. plus that severe weather. Sign of what those strong winds have done. The past 24 hours have been very wild across the southern plains with the dust and fires that have burned and quickly spread on wind gusts that were more than 90 miles per hour. However, we are still following severe weather, which broke out yesterday night in Missouri and continues to work its way on east. Take a look at the nation. This is the big spiral. This is a big storm system that created all of the huge problems, and you can see all those thunderstorms still lifting at this point in time through states like Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. And if that's not enough, there's a whole nother storm system here off towards the south that's getting slingshotted around the first one. As it works its way over the southeast, it's going to create rounds of severe weather, and we are including that risk for tornadoes too. So a lot unfolding here as we watch basically essentially 2 storm systems wrapping up into one large storm here for your March. Across the nation, the cool air show you though some of the reports over the past couple of hours of wind. We've had that from Nebraska and Kansas right into places like Chicago. The wind's a huge problem, and that's created some downed trees, power outages, even in states like Minnesota and Wisconsin. Farther south, notice there's not quite as many reports, but if you go into some of the Great Lakes today, but we're also going to get the winds. Chicago, you're going to have those strong winds today. Indianapolis, same thing. Sort of accumulations for us before the storm really does start to depart as we close out the weekend. It's a messy time, but for those that are in parts of the east with a severe weather stretch like this one, it's important to know the best place to take shelter and seek shelter when all things important to keep in mind this weekend as we continue to follow this severe weather pattern. Sunday, the thunderstorms move east with the cold front, which means a lot of the Carolinas get in on the action, as well as places like Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, 81 with showers and thunderstorms. We'll see with damaging wind being the focus of these thunderstorms. So you can see that line already starting off your Sunday morning at daybreak, continues to move its way east. Charlotte, you'll hear those rumbles of thunder throughout a good chunk of the morning hours. Then it starts to move towards the coast, and there's actually some more thunderstorms that develop as we head into Sunday evening before the storm system moves offshore into early Monday morning. Earlier, this noise of being outside, didn't realize it was so limited here. As you can see, if you're outside for your Saturday, we actually are turning things warmer in most locations. One of those exceptions may be New York City. Notice, though, the showers, they are working their way on through, so we will have some of that to contend with for today. So that's just something to keep in mind here as we talk about your Saturday forecast. Again, most of that moisture still kind of working its way on in. Those showers and thunderstorms from the Great Lakes there extending into places like Kentucky. Easterly flow in New York City will keep the numbers down a little bit as we look at those high temperatures this afternoon.
Thanks for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. The same storm system AccuWeather meteorologists have been forecasting to unleash severe weather. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the severe weather risk for tomorrow into really the whole east coast of the country, all the way from south of Jacksonville, Florida, up into Pennsylvania, almost into New York State, and actually into New York State just a little bit there. Areas are more likely to see flooding. Some areas are more likely to see isolated tornadoes. It just depends on where you are. But let's time this out on future radar. As we head into 8 p.m., we get into western Alabama, then into the overnight hours. Well, let's talk about the western half of the country, one area where it's actually dry for your Saturday, all of California, especially just a little bit of that rainfall getting into Northern California, especially as we head into kind of the evening hours. The storm that's up into the Pacific Northwest is slowly going to start to work its way down south. Highs for today, though, we're in the ballpark of where we should be this time of year for a lot of us. Places like LA, just 1 degree off from your historical average of 66. That forecasted high is 65. Same forecasted high in Vegas, but we're about 60 season. We will take any precipitation we can get. We'll see some snow with this system as well, which will be helpful building up that snowpack again. Whatever precipitation we can get, we'll take it. Let's take a look at future radar and how this plays out. As we go throughout the next couple of hours, we start to see this moving into Northern California. But then as we put future radar into motion, we see the system move even. Always should be contacting your insurance company, documenting the damage with pictures, videos, and as you're going through the cleanup process, make sure you keep any receipts so that if you can get reimbursed by insurance, you have the receipts, and that's an option. Now, safety is very important throughout this cleanup process. You want to make sure you're wearing the right gear and you're going about things the right way, and that you know when to call a professional. Mainly if there's any power lines or other hazards that you come across, that's when it is time to not take care of it yourself, but give professionals a call.